Okay, well, again, Governor, thanks for sitting down with us for a few minutes here. The circumstances under which you became governor were unprecedented. Were you ready for this?
Definitely. I had served over 17 years in the Oregon legislature. Many of it I was a caucus leader, and then had moved on to serve in the Secretary of State's role. I feel I was well prepared to take on this leadership role, and I think the successes that we've had this legislative session prove that.
Was there anything about being governor, being in the office that surprised you or that you weren't aware of?
Well, I just am very pleased about the progress we've been able to make on key priorities. One of my goals was to make sure that we work to restore Oregonians' faith in state government, and we were able to pass a number of bills to increase the strength of the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, as well as require an audit of public records and state agency practices. All of those bills, with their recommendations, I think will help move Oregon forward and help Oregonians' faith be restored in state government.
Is state government more ethical and transparent now than it was before you took office?
I hope so. I think with both the audit and the work that we're doing around the task force, I think it will substantially improve access and transparency to state government records, and I think that's critically important.
You came out, or you gave a statement in support of the Department of Administrative Services employee who leaked the Kitzhaber-Hayes emails. Why did you do that, and why did you feel it was important to make a public statement in that regard?
Well, I thought it was very important that there not be a prosecution in that particular case. I think that his intentions were right. We have since worked to clarify with state employees the pathways for reporting. The Secretary of State's office has a hotline for state employees to report abuse, waste, and fraud. It's a confidential hotline, so state employees can report to the hotline, and that information is totally and completely confidential. So it's a really good pathway for state employees to use in the future.
Okay, let's talk about Senate Bill 324, the carbon fuel standard. Now, you signed that even though documents related to that bill were being subpoenaed in the Kitzhaber-Hayes case. And it basically killed a chance for a comprehensive transportation plan. Do you regret signing that bill now?
Well, I signed Senate Bill 324, which had been the work of many people. Governor Kulongoski signed the first clean fuels bill back in 2009. So this is work that many organizations had worked on, many legislators had worked on for a number of years. But the reason why I signed the bill is that it requires us to reduce the carbon intensity of our transportation emissions. The bill is called Clean Fuels. What it really means is clean air for Oregonians, and I think that's a good thing. As part of the entire West Coast Collaborative, including California and British Columbia, we make up 1/5 of the world's economy. Working as a region, we can help drive not only this nation, but this world to cleaner air, and I think we all need to participate in it. So that's why I signed that particular legislation. In terms of the transportation package, here's what I would say. Oregon needs more investments in our roads and bridges. Oregon Democrats and Republicans came together. We worked very hard. We rolled up our sleeves. We met for many, many days to try and work on a transportation package. In the end, we couldn't get there. I'm committed. I look forward to meeting with stakeholders and working out our next steps. The bottom line is the transportation package and clean fuels need to be decoupled. These issues need to be separated and worked on their own.
Will there be any changes to that clean fuels bill in order to help the negotiations on the transportation package?
Well, at this point in time, I want to meet with the business community, the labor community, and talk about our next steps toward a transportation package. So that will be my actions now that the session's done.
One of the big things happening here in Oregon is the legalization of recreational marijuana. But still, at this point, there's no way to legally buy it. You can legally smoke it, you can legally possess it, but you can't legally buy it. What work has to be done along those lines, and where do you see this going?
Well, first of all, I just want to give my applause to the legislature. Democrats, Republicans from all over the state came together around the legislation, the implementation legislation. They did really great work. And my job as governor is to make sure that we implement that legislation in a way that ensures the safety of our children all across the state, increases adults' awareness about marijuana use, as well as strives to keep marijuana out of the black market. So that will be my focus in the marijuana arena moving forward.
October 1st, will it be legal to purchase?
So that legislation is still on my desk. Once the legislature adjourns, I have roughly 30 days. In this case, it will be till August 17th to sign or veto legislation. Before I sign any bill, it goes through a very extensive legal review. And so that particular bill, I believe, is in that legal review process. And until then, until my lawyers have combed through it, I'm not going to commit to signing any bill.
Okay, so you haven't come up with a decision on that one way or the other.
That's correct.
Okay, the other thing that happened while you were governor was the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, gave the go-ahead for same-sex marriage. What does that mean for us here in Oregon?
Well, you know, as a legislator and as an Oregonian, I've worked for many years to secure the civil rights of our LGBT citizens. I fought for over 17 years for the passage of our civil rights bill as well as the civil partnership bill. And then this last year, a federal court said, under the Oregon Constitution, gay and lesbian couples can marry, and I certainly applauded that decision. I think the U.S. Supreme Court decision confirmed, in essence, the federal court decision, and will guarantee security for our gay and lesbian families, whether they're living in Oregon or whether they travel to another state. And I think that's a very good thing.
So will same-sex marriage be legal here in Oregon, you think?
Yes, it will be. It is legal here in Oregon, and these marriages will be recognized in other states across the country. And what that means for me is that our gay and lesbian families can be secure, and that's really important. Love one.
All right. The education budget, ever since I've been here, and I've been here a long time, there's always been this feeling that education has not been adequately funded. It seems like colleges, community colleges, got most of what they wanted this year. K through 12, they always want more. But have we turned the corner here? Have we turned the corner in this state when it comes to education funding?
My goal as governor is to create a seamless education system from cradle to career. And toward that, and the legislature under my leadership has made enormous strides toward investing not only in K through 12 education, which is critically important, the highest budget we've ever seen, which will help reduce class sizes and enable our children to learn. We have also invested very greatly in early childhood education, close to $100 million. And this will be most important for reducing what I call the opportunity gap, the differences between economically advantaged and economically disadvantaged children, the differences between white children and children of color. And by investing early on, we can work to make sure that all of our children can grow and thrive in our education system. Couple other pieces that we did, we made historic funding levels in career and technical education. It's just great. What it does is enable young people to connect their education to a career. We know that children, students who are involved in internships and career and technical education do better on their math and their reading skills. But it also creates a diverse, skilled workforce. And everywhere I travel in this state, businesses say to me, you know, we need more qualified workers. And by investing in career and technical education, we can provide the business community with the workers that they need.
Do we still need more work to be done on that, on the education front?
Absolutely, no question. My focus was on making sure we have children ready to learn when they reach kindergarten, that they understand the basics, that they're ready to be in a classroom, The next path is to make sure that they're all reading by 3rd grade. And so that will be quite a challenge and a significant investment as well. But for the first time ever, Oregon fully funded full-day kindergarten. That's just tremendous progress, and I'm very proud of the Oregon legislature.
You had majorities in both houses, and being a Democratic governor yourself, a lot of people thought that it would be smooth sailing. But I've talked to some legislators in advance of this interview, and they tell me that it was highly partisan. How do you assess that, and did that have much impact on your ability to govern?
Well, what I would say is, by any measure, this Oregon legislative session has been an incredible success for working families across the state. We passed groundbreaking legislation. One great example is our new motor voter law, which will streamline our voter registration system, enabling more voices to be heard in the state, which is a really good thing. We also passed paid sick leave, so parents can stay home when they're sick and not worry about losing their jobs. We passed a retirement security bill that will enable more people to plan and save for retirement, which will be greater security when we get to be seniors. So we made over a $60 million investment in affordable housing, which is a huge problem throughout the state of Oregon. By any measure, this legislative session has been an incredible success and able to provide our families with opportunities to thrive.
Now, because of the timing of all this, you have to run again to complete Governor Kitzhaber's term. What are your plans along those lines, and maybe after that to run for a full term?
Well, right now my focus is on governing. The legislature passed over 700 bills, and so my goal is to implement those bills in a way that makes sense. The affordable housing, incredibly historic. Want to make sure this is done right and make sure we provide homes in every corner of the state. The second piece is to travel throughout Oregon, meet with families, meet with Oregon businesses, hear what they need to thrive in the state. And then lastly, I'll be heading to Asia in the fall to provide, see if we can provide more market opportunities for our Oregon businesses. So I've got my work cut out for me, and I'm rolling up my sleeves and working hard.
Will you run again?
Haven't made a decision yet. Right now I'm focused on governing.
Okay. You pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover. So if there's anything else that you wanted to get out there that maybe our viewers should know?
I'm very excited about what we did in terms of community college and higher ed access. One of the challenges for our Oregon schools is that oftentimes Oregon students can't afford to go to Oregon schools. And I was pleased to see the significant investment in the Oregon Opportunity Grants. Under this new funding level, 16,000 additional students will be able to access higher education. Mm-hmm. And then there's some interesting things happening around community college to make that more accessible, more affordable. So that's a good thing.
Thank you very much, Governor.